The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sawagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m., Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kizza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
Hi, welcome to the Political Dice.
Empishi ebyobufuzi.
It's controversial,
Purely political.
well researched,
Accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
Yes, State House oba ghetto.
Ani ayugayuga ku ground.
Ani bwe babuze.
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kizza Besigye aleesa amaanyi.
Olwofadda bafutsoli abateeseemu obuvaazi.
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
Olwojema.
Bano ba MKCG bo baddawa.
Abo bafuna CDF baamala tebabanja. Olwo baba ate bange bali kuki?
Abo bo akina kulabisa simanyanga posturing tebabiri bali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
Ani oyo oba?
Ye ali kuki?
Oyo tumuleketa gamba apanyiga mawu.
Ebe ndabena birindira no ku the Political Dice ku the Alternative Dig Talk nange Teddy Tenja ewamune
Farida Bikobere
buli wa Sunday
sawa pili.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
In from it's 7 minutes past the hour of 12 midday. We are streaming live on Digitalk TV right here in Makindye Division along Lokoli Konge Road. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I would love to thank the people who are watching us from the diaspora. Thank you so much. The people who are watching us from Dubai, the Middle East, Bahrain. We have people who watch us from USA. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, those who are watching us from Australia, it's always a privilege to have you right here. My name is Edgar Matthew Karahanga, and every particular Friday, we are always here with Dr. Kizza Besigye having a conversation with Uganda. A lot of things are happening in this part of the world. I'll start with the National Unity Platform President, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who graduated yesterday with his degree in law from Cavendish University. Special congratulations to you, sir. And of course, thank you for inspiring your generation in your time. You have defied odds really, and you have done things that not many people would expect from what we call a ghetto youth, such as yourself. So Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, also known as Bobby Wine, has officially become a lawyer. I think there is also another back course that one needs to do in order for them to become an advocate of the High Court. But of course, you being able to study for these 7 years and graduating, it's always something that we are proud of. So congratulations to the president of the National Unity Platform. Then in other news, we have a lot of things happening in the country. I'll start off with one gentleman who has been charged in line with the attacks that happened earlier on last month, I think, along Kampala Road, just near Victoria University. There was a group of goons, thugs, who are seated on different borders, who attacked one Indian personnel, and that Indian was robbed of, I think, 150,000 UGX, then a laptop. As we speak, the police has already charged one individual. His name is Mubarak, and this individual has been charged with aggravated robbery. And of course, there are still many people who are supposed to be charged with him. I think 15 of them have not yet been arrested by the Uganda Police Force. But as we're speaking, this gentleman has been arrested. And this comes at a time when there has been a lot of criminality, especially in the urban centers. Many people have been brutalized, robbed from, and of course there is a new phenomenon of these robberies. People walking on borders and stealing in a group, so they attack you at the same time, and sometimes you don't know who to defend yourself against. And it's a couple of borders, so it's a growing trend that we have seen, but the police is doing its level best to try to keep this under control. And then Cheptegei continues to make Uganda proud. As we speak, I think he is the most decorated Olympian from Uganda. He actually has a couple of Olympic gold medals, so he's not someone that you can look down to. He also made history again in these Paris Olympics that are happening, the 2024 edition, and he has already scooped himself a gold medal in the 10,000 meter race. That gentleman has actually won this race a couple of times, even in Tokyo. That was in 2020. He was able to scoop himself a gold medal in that particular same race. So we are proud of Cheptegei. And the challenges that Cheptegei has gone through are various. Remember, from the time of saying limited funding, he has not had support from government. I think the government also promised Cheptegei and his colleagues a running track around Kapchorwa, but it wasn't constructed, and I have information that Cheptegei went out of his way to actually build his own racing track. So it shows you the challenges this gentleman has gone through in order for him to be celebrated in Uganda, and of course putting the Uganda flag so high. So congratulations to Cheptegei, and he's not alone. Peruth Chemutai also won herself a silver medal, so congratulations to you. That was in the 3,000 meters. You continue to raise the flag for Uganda amidst all the challenges that you go through in order for you to reach those limits or those achievements. There is a lot of things that you go through, so we'd love to commend you and celebrate you and say that Uganda is really, really so proud of you. Thank you so much for flagging our country in these global stages. Then maybe lastly, definitely not least, is a phenomenon that is happening. Various teachers are resigning from their jobs. Why is this happening? These people are filing for early retirement, and in such a crucial sector such as the education sector. Why is it that this is happening at such a time? And of course, where does this leave Uganda? These are some of the things that we'll be talking about, because if the teachers are resigning slowly by slowly and filing for retirement, it is something that we need to investigate and wonder what is happening. And of course, many of them have raised issues of the meager resources that are given unto them. We know many teachers who go and teach but in the evening go on borders to fend for their families. So where do we leave the country as it goes? So ladies and gentlemen, maybe the last story I will just hint on is the Dubai consulate of Uganda that has been mad with accusations that it has been turned into a casino. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Jeje Odong, has not come out to actually talk about this issue, but it has been in the news over time. Why is it that we're not having a response as Ugandans who are asking about something like that? How can a consulate be made into a gambling den, a casino, and of course, what does that do to the image of Uganda, especially in the global communities? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Interface Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Okay, Dr. Besigye is already here with us in studios. Allow me welcome him. And of course, he gives us his opening remarks. Doctor, it's always a privilege and pleasure to have you on the Interface Show.
Thank you very much, my brother Edgar. And very good afternoon to all of you in the audience of the Digital TV today on the Interface Show. It's always a great pleasure to be here on the Digital TV, where we sit every Friday. I must apologize profusely for my absence in the last 2 weeks or so. I've been mainly moving up and down, both domestically and internationally, and it caused a break on this program. My apologies. I really hope that in this intervening period you've had a reasonable time in the tough economy that we all live in here in Uganda. I'd like, Edgar, first of all, to take a small time to say how happy I was to see the Ssaabasajja Kabaka of Buganda return from Namibia and return looking great.
Yes.
And indeed make some important statements in celebrating 31 years on the throne. Sebo bene tukukulisa emyaka 31 ku Namulondo y'abajjajjabo. And tukusabira nti n'obukuluma bwonna busukke era weeyongere okutukulembera n'okulabirira Namulondo n'Obuganda bonna basajja bo weetuli. Yes, so really glad. I also join in, celebrating the achievements of our citizens in France in Olympics 2024, which are, some of the few things that really warm all the hearts of Ugandans. I think sports has been one thing that, first of all, unites our country in celebration. And we don't have many things to celebrate, so when such achievements come our way, they are really great. And so, yes, I join all Ugandans in celebrating my brother Joshua Cheptegei and Peruth Chemutai.
The question is, do we have the moral authority to celebrate those wins?
Yes, we have definitely a moral authority because although not supported institutionally and officially by our collective effort, which should come through government.
Exactly.
Nonetheless, they come from our families, they receive our warmth and succor as people of Uganda. We encourage them to the extent that we can. The only let down is by what would be our collective effort through government. Because as you have rightly remarked, not just athletics, but the entire sports field really is on its own, largely. We are a country that does not really boast of any academy where young talent can be groomed. And
these people come by surprise.
Yes, yes. So yes, that is a huge disappointment, which I'm sure every Ugandan really is alert to. But congratulations to our brothers and sisters who are doing us great out there in France. And you know, of course, Peruth was heartbroken in spite of the great achievement. She really expected to get gold, and she deserved to get gold, really. But you know, next time I'm sure she'll get it. You know, gold had eluded Cheptegei, the Olympic gold. He was the world, he held the world record, both of 10,000 and of 5,000. But he had not got the Olympic gold. So, you know, we are happy for him and for ourselves for that achievement. And I'm sure Chemtai will also get. Unfortunately, the hopefuls for some of the events that are upcoming have stepped out. But we keep all our team in our prayers. I also would like to join you in congratulating my brother, President Robert Kyagulanyi, on a momentous achievement as a graduate of law. And of course, I am alive to the campaign and various efforts to power water on that achievement. Not unexpected. You know, first of all, I must say that I am not a fan of certificates. Generally, I am not, and I'm actually quite skeptical about the certificates generally in our country. It appears that the most people get certificates, the less helpful they become for the general good. I in fact have been very critical about, you know, our PhD holders and professors and all these titles in the academia, because they have not distinguished themselves in terms of promoting and contributing to the common good as they should. And so, but nonetheless, any academic achievement, increase of knowledge, even attempt at increasing knowledge must be commended. Knowledge, not certificate. And, you know, because, you know, I tell you, I was particularly, you know, disappointed beyond measure up to now. When the person that had distinguished himself in the academia in the field of law, which was Professor Dr. Kidu Makubuya. This was a guy who got a first-class degree in law at Makerere. He went on to get his master's degree from Yale. and the PhD also from Yale. I mean, in terms of excellence at academic performance, you can't ask for better.
Yes. It looks like the epitome of,
yes, this
of
guy
academia.
went on to become the Attorney General of Uganda. And as Attorney General, our paths crossed. I was in prison, charged with all kinds of offenses. I was charged with treason, with terrorism, with rape, with illegal possession of guns, all at the same time. And there was a question as to whether I could be nominated to become a candidate in the presidential elections of
2001?
2006. 2006. And this Attorney General wrote an official advice of the Attorney General to government to say, no, I could not be nominated because I am not, although not, convicted of any offense, the fact that I am accused reduces my level of innocence. In other words, Professor Dr. Kindo Makubuya created the phenomenon in law where
I thought you were innocent until proven guilty.
this is the whole thing. You create, and all simply to serve the will of his master, Mr. Museveni, who had appointed him to become
the Attorney General.
And it is that, lack of integrity, lack of moral strength that seems to be fairly common amongst these highly educated people. So that's why, I honor people's actions, and especially in the arena of promoting the common good than just academic achievements.
Yep.
There are people who have not received any qualification, but who have contributed immensely to the political, social, and economic development of this country. That should be celebrated.
Okay.
Nonetheless, I'm just saying this in the background of celebrating the achievement of my brother Robert Kyagulanyi, and condemning whatever attempt is there to,
water down.
Yes. I think Kyagulanyi has done very, very well in building his knowledge, whether with or without certificates. What is important is building knowledge. Is somebody who is always eager to learn, and I have seen him improve his knowledge and capacity over years. So congratulations to you, my brother.
Okay.
I am also this week elated, happy that, increasingly young people are stepping forward to say no, our future matters, and we shall not sit as our future is destroyed by these octogenarians that captured our country. And so the protest mode that is building amongst the young people is something that warms my heart. This is something we have been, indicating that it's absolutely necessary, that we shall not live in a free country, in a country that provides equal opportunities, unless we fight off those parasites that captured the country and that are bleeding it to death.
Yes.
So the Ugandan Gen Zs, the Ugandan millennials, the Ugandan young people that are raising their voices are doing exactly what they should do to fight for their own future. We are here to support you, fight for your future. Our future is already spent. We are in the evening of our years. We've tried and we shall continue doing our utmost to see that we live a country that is better than the country we were born into.
Yes.
But the young people owe it to themselves to ensure that the future they live in provides the opportunities they need.
Okay.
So that's my take as we start the interface today.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Kizza Besigye. He points out a couple of issues. I have a few questions that you guys are already sending. Doctor will be responding to them in a few minutes from now. But I have Kemi Toma. You asked what is Dr. Kizza Besigye's stand on the march to Parliament. Do we still hope to see him soon in his hoodie marching to occupy Parliament with us? He will be addressing that. Then, Doctor, the Gen Zs have spoken and nothing yet has changed in the system. How can they make their cause heard more? This is Nicholas Muima Ahura. Thank you so much. Then we also had, we've had claims that the UPDF picked the cadres of FDC in Kisumu. Is this true? And if so, what does it mean for Uganda and the East African community? This is Kamoga Gooding from San Francisco. Thank you so much for watching. Doctor will be responding to those particular insights. But before he does, I want to just pick his mind on the resignation or the decision for Joe Biden not to stand for U.S. president, so that we can come from there to come back to Uganda. Doctor, what do you think of Joe Biden deciding not to stand for presidency? And he has been in the process, but he just decided, I think enough is enough, and not going to stand for presidency. And remembering that he's an 80-year-old gentleman.
You see, the beauty of democratic dispensations, and the American political system is certainly not perfect at all.
Yes,
it
sir.
has a lot of weaknesses. But, you know, there is freedom for people to express themselves.
Yes.
The media is very dynamic and, you know, interrogates everything and brings everything to the people. And so my own take is that it wasn't really Biden's, you know,
Conviction?
decision as such that I think I should stop here. It was the mood in the country that he witnessed, and within his party, the Democrats, because you know I think the nail that closed his political career came from the first debate that he had with Trump, where I think all people were unanimous that he had performed very weakly, that he was showing lapses in his memory, his energy levels were low, and you know, the opinion started gathering pace that this person, first of all, will not defeat Trump. Not defeat Trump. It was making Trump appear as if he was going to have a walkover.
And that's true. That's true.
And
Yes.
the Democrats said, no, we really need to do something. So pressure quickly gathered around around Biden to give way, and I think you know, the attempt to change that tide of opinion that was gathering momentum appeared not to get far, and so, you know, he had no choice but to respond to all this gathering, you know, opinion that he was not up to it. And you see, there are many people who, indeed, in such a democratic dispensation, whose fate is associated with the candidature of the president. And so, if he's seen as not providing the best opportunity, there are many people with whom that loss of opportunity will affect. And so they stand up and push him to give way, so that they can remain with the hope that they will have a better opportunity at the elections.
But can we conclusively say that a mature man to that extent, or an elderly person who's 80 and above, or in such an age bracket, cannot lead a country really very well? Can we conclude to that assertion?
Well, but I mean, first of all, the effect of age is not in debate. That you know, when you are young, you are increasing your capacity up to some level, and then you level off. You can no longer increase, you level off at a peak somewhere, and then you start going down. That is, and both biologically and intellectually, you know, you increase your capacity, you level off, and you go down. And I mean, the level, the time at which we really start going off varies, but certainly from about 60, you are on the downward course. So the balance is always that the longer you live, the more you are exposed to all kinds of situations, so you gather a lot of experience.
That's where I was going to come.
And that experience is useful in you know, making decisions and guiding processes and so on. So experience is an advantage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that experience also needs to reside in a viable body that can take advantage of it. So if you, because memory will start going down, you know, whereas most parts of our body regenerate, you can produce new cells in most parts of the body. The brain actually doesn't. The connections within the brain remain the same, and they keep on dying off, becoming fewer as you age. And so that's why it's only reasonable that at some age your ability to lead and effectively will definitely go down. There are individual variations. That's why some people will be too old to manage anything even by 60 years, while others may remain effective up to 90. But overall, people must appreciate that you have a time you will not be able to do many of the things you were able to do yesterday. And to learn to give way. Now, in Biden's case, I think, first of all, he was enthused by a rather good performance, especially domestically within the United States. The economy was performing much better, unemployment was going down, growth was picking up, and so he had he had many things going for him to carry on and serve another term. Secondly, I think there were not so many people that would have been seen to have the clout, the name recognition, that experience of achievement and so on, to be able to fight off Trump, who was indeed a very clear threat all along. And so I think it was tempting, not just for Biden, but even for the Democratic Party, to want to hang on to him to have a better chance of winning the election. It was only when the shake-up came as the fight started that people realized, no, this may not work.
Thank you because of that political lecture. I think Doctor has painted a very good picture for the people who didn't know about America's politics. But maybe lastly on that issue, where does this leave Kamala Harris, a female candidate, both Indian and black? What are some of the variations in that particular election come November 2024?
The candidates, notwithstanding, I think, at least from the point where I stand, which is very far from the United States and watching remotely and not very, knowledgeable about the many things there. But one gets the sense that there is a very deep divide within the American population.
Yes, sir.
And it seems that polarization is getting deeper and more entrenched between the right, those on the right of the politics, which Trump represents, seeming to get even more right, and then those on the left, middle and left. So there is, I think, a lot of desire, especially by those on the left, to stave off that tendency of the populism and the right, extreme right opinions that Trump represents. There is an anxiety to do so. Okay. So they will rally around any candidate for that purpose, whether it's Harris or any other person. Yeah. Now, Harris comes in, I think, with a mixture of fortunes. First of all, as you say, she's likely to galvanize a women vote. Clinton almost did so. America has, in its entire history, never had a female leader. And I think there is a lot of sentiment around that. She is also likely to galvanize the minorities coming from both, black and mixed with Asian background. That too may have its own attraction, but there is also, I think, a baggage from her prosecutorial background, where she was a prosecutor and did not appear to be helpful to certain people, even.
She now remembers them.
Yes, so there is a mixed bag there, but I think she has opinion polls have been improving quite fast in her favor. She's been raising a lot of money, and so I think it's an open it's an open election. We'll wait and see how it plays out.
All right, thank you so much. This is The Interface. I'm still with Dr. Kizza Besigye, and my name is Edgar Matthew Karahanga. Doctor, some of the members from FDC Katonga faction were arrested, driven from Kenya back to Uganda, charged with treason because of undertaking what they call terrorist activities. That is in Kisumu, Kenya. They've been arraigned in court and they've been remanded as we speak. Some of your other members went to protest for them, trying to march to the Kenyan High Commission. Unfortunately, they were arrested, but some of them have actually been also released and granted bail. A couple of them is, I think, the Kira Municipality Member of Parliament, the Deputy Lord Mayor, Dorin Nyanjura, and a couple of members therein. Doctor, what do you think about first the arrest of these 36 individuals who had gone for a leadership training? What do you think about that?
You see, Edgar,
yes,
and all our audience, what you should keep in mind is that we really have a dysfunctional, a largely dysfunctional system of government here. It is a system that is micromanaged by Mr. Museveni at the top. A Museveni whose primary mission and effort and use of everything he has is to retain power and possibly to expand it. That is the micromanager sitting at the top. That is his worldview. He's set out to capture power and retain it for good. And that's why he's now looking at passing it on to his family lineage. Now, Mr. Museveni's fear is loss of power. And everybody whom he micromanages, everybody whom he works with in the government establishment knows that very well. That anything that gives Museveni fear, he will do anything you want so that you can deal with it. Now, that has all these years been taken advantage of by all the institutions and the people therein of the security sector. That is the military, the police, the intelligence services. They all take advantage of Museveni's, incredible fear of loss of power. So, and because, as I have said, the system is dysfunctional, he does not allow systems to function. Because if systems were functioning, there would be checks and balances. If somebody gets maybe intelligence sources,
yes,
they would be processed,
verified,
Yes, they would be processed by a system so that he gets something that is
Accurate.
processed and refined.
Yes.
But most of the time, he gets raw intelligence from people who have vested interest in scaring him so that he releases money to them. It's a business. Intelligence and security industry is the most lucrative industry in the country. That is why earlier on when there was a war in northern Uganda, it took 20 years to resolve something that was very easily resolvable. In fact, that at some stage had been resolved. You remember when Betty Bigombe went and, at a very high risk to herself, went and met Kony and they discussed and resolved that to end the war and brought all the soldiers, encamped them in Gulu
Yes.
and other places, and the government started supplying food to them as they were now finalizing how to disarm, reintegrate, and so on.
I remember that story.
And all of a sudden, all these people who had come and encamped were attacked.
Were attacked, yes.
And dispersed back into the bushes, and the war resumed. Because it was the war that was feeding all the security establishments. Those who were in those, it was their cash cow. You know, that's what they were milking for themselves.
Doctor, you're trying to mean that they are fabricating terrorist activities.
The number of, when you see all these mushrooming flats and malls and so on, quite many of them are built on the basis of these fake security operations. I was a particular witness of this when, from the time I started, you know, outrightly challenging Mr. Museveni, I became the biggest source of wealth for many people. When I, and that is partly why immediately after the 2001 elections, you know, they created such a huge threat that I was such a huge threat that nearly all the security institutions were all focused on monitoring me, chasing me up and down, surrounding my home, which is why eventually I decided to go outside. Now, when I was abroad, when I lived in South Africa, I was, fortunately at that time, still having many friends. I still have some, but many have now also retired. But that time I still had many friends in the security system. And I would get the intelligence reports that were being filed with Mr. Museveni, some of which I still have. And the kind of reports they were giving him were incredible. You know, these people have a very fertile mind of, you know, for imagination. You know, they would say how, you know, they have infiltrated our camps in Rwanda. They would name where the forests in which we are, you know, operating from in Rwanda, and how they brought lorries of posho with their operatives into the camps and so on, and how, you know, at night at this time, 9:23, you know, maybe President Kagame came and visited, and this is what he said, and this would be a comprehensive report to the president. All of it, shit, nothing. And so Mr. Museveni would be terribly worried. Now Rwanda is about to attack him, and the Besigye, and he would release money now to go and follow these people, and he would buy weapons to to stave off an impending attack when there was absolutely nothing. So I was not surprised myself when these people of ours who were in Kisumu were attacked. Because you see, you can understand even the shallowness of such an operation. Because if you are saying that you suspect these people are going to train on terrorism, and you have informers there who have told you they are going to train on terrorism, you know where they are. These people all passed through formal immigration points of Uganda. They were cleared to travel to Kenya. So you already have information. They have passed through the borders. They went and passed through the Kenya immigration, went to their places in broad daylight. This was not a night operation or anything. In broad daylight, they assemble at this Catholic center. The residence where they are, it's like the corping hotels which the Catholic Church has here. Or like Lueza, which the Anglican Church has, where it's like a training center. So that is a pastoral, it's called a pastoral center, Ukweli Pastoral Center, where they had booked to have their conference. And before they start, because one would have expected that you will wait and see what exactly they are doing. If they are training on terrorism, you
get them in the act.
You get the evidence.
Yes.
And bring the evidence to why interrupt them before the training begins? Because they arrived that day in the evening. At night, after midnight, they stormed the place, broke doors, created mayhem, arrested these people, tortured them, and arrested by Ugandans because they were speaking Lunyankole, Luganda, together with some Kenyan military people. There were a few people in Kenya military uniform and other possibly Kenya, undercover people who were not in uniform. And, they were tied their hands at the back, Kandoya, dumped into vehicles and driven all the way to Uganda, not passing through any official checkpoint. So they were not cleared. They were cleared to enter Kenya. They were not cleared to come back. In other words, they were really kidnapped.
Doctor, let's start from there because the diplomatic handover was not said, it was not done as you mentioned. The extradition, we are not seeing it anywhere. Yet these people entered in a legal manner. What does this mean? And if it's actually hypothetically true that Ugandan military operatives picked them from Kenya and brought them back to Uganda, what does that mean of the sanctity of deploying these military personnel? What is the procedure followed before you deploy any military personnel outside the borders of Uganda? And of course, what does this mean from the government of Kenya sending back or arresting Ugandans and just sharing that, sending them back to Uganda? Where's the spirit of the East African community? We'll be talking about that and much more after this short commercial break. My name is Edgar Matthew Karahanga. We're still streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Digitalk TV, at The Alternative Uganda, at Dr. Kizza Besigye's Facebook page. My name is Edgar. Let's go for a short commercial break.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sawagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m., Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kizza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, welcome to the Political Dice.
empishi y'ebyobufuzi
It's controversial,
purely political,
well researched,
accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
ya state house oba ghetto,
Ani ayugayuga ku ground.
ani gwe baabuze
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kizza Besigye aleese amaanyi.
olwo fadda bafutsoli abateeseemu obuvaazi
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
olwo jeema
Bano ba MKCG bo baddawa.
abo bafuna CDF baamala tebabanja olwo baba ate bange bali kuki
Abo bo akina kulabisa simanyanga posturing tebabiri bali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
ani oyo oba
Ye ali kuki?
oyo tumuleketa gambanyiga mawu
Ebe ndabena birindira no kuda Political Dice ku the Alternative Digital nange teditenja ewamune
Farida Bikobere
buli wa Sunday
esawa 2.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Yes, this is the Interface show that you're watching. Jasper Lahisi, thank you so much for watching. There is Songa Salim Saleh Sheli. Fix the economy and all these problems will be history. The paradox of the economy isn't good at all. Mwezi Rogers, you say, Mr. Edgar, a failed state is a breeding ground for organized crime. So we shouldn't worry about what is happening in Uganda, only that we should keep pushing for liberating our country. There is a gentleman called Katerega Abdelaziz also watching. You say, my president, my political mentor, I'm always inspired by your unrelenting patience, tolerance, and love for your country. I salute you. David Kasaja, you're watching from Kagadi. Thank you. Sebiazi Moses watching live for my people's president, digesting our current situations happening in our country and the whole world. Mushemeza Elijah Snowden, you say you're watching live from Dubai. Thank you so much for watching. There is Bukenya Commerce There's Kalyango. All of you guys are watching. I'll be reading your messages subsequently as we continue with the program. Remember, we're streaming live at Digitalk TV, at the Alternative Uganda Facebook page, at Dr. Kizza Besigye's Facebook page, but we're also streaming on YouTube at the Alternative Uganda at Digitalk TV. Doctor, you're still still talking about that issue of the 36 cadres that were incarcerated, but okay, you first conclude.
Yeah, so I was telling you that I was not surprised. I am sure that some people in ESO, in ISO, or somewhere built this project.
Manufacturing a word that is not there.
Yes, and I'm sure they have taken a lot of money following something that is not there.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the focus shouldn't be on Uganda because, I mean, the fact that we live under a rogue regime is not news. We have a regime that has no respect whatsoever for the rule of law, which has no respect for institutions. You have seen the military attack the courts of law in broad daylight to stop court decisions. You have seen the military attack parliament in broad daylight. So
everything is on record.
So the fact that the NRM Museveni junta is a rogue regime is not in question. And what it does should not surprise anybody. What is more critical is the regional angle.
Yes.
Because I have told you that Mr. Museveni's complete focus was on to capture power, but also to expand it. And that is where everybody in the region needs to be more focused. Because this rogue regime is malignant. It is spreading into the region very, very deliberately. So, it is in Congo.
Yes, that's true.
It controls Sudan, South Sudan.
Yes.
It is spreading into Kenya. And both Kenyans, but also the whole region needs to wake up to the great danger that the rogue regime here has for the whole region. That is the real story that one should pick from what happened in Kisumu. Not about, no surprises about what the Ugandan junta does, but what its schemes in the region. The fact that you can have, and you know, what we have seen post that event, the governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, came out to officially declare that he had no knowledge at all of what took place, was shocked, was also demanding answers
Accountability
from the Kenya government as to how this could have happened. This is the police command.
So who carried out?
So that already spells out for you the rogue element that has infiltrated the Kenyan system. So it means that the Uganda rogue security was able to go into Kenya, ally with similar rogue elements within the Kenyan system to carry out an operation to violate the laws of Kenya.
Yes.
Because the laws of Kenya don't allow anyone to arrest people and take them out of the country without passing through the law.
Yes.
So that is what is, actually one of the 36 people who is here is a refugee in Kenya.
Oh.
Yes. Given
Refugee status.
protection, Kenya committed itself to protect that particular person in Kenya.
And then he deported that person back.
Not just, there was no deportation.
There was no deportation, literally.
Just connived in violating international law.
Oh, exactly.
And it's duty to protect that particular individual. So those are the very, very serious questions that need to be focused on as a result of that. Otherwise, quite obviously, they have no case. You cannot charge anybody speculatively that this person was going to engage in a training that would break the law. There is no such, you cannot, an offense must be rooted in actual demonstrable actions that are against the law. So there is no case whatsoever. The other thing that the whole country should focus on is the individuals within our institutions who abuse those institutions and the trust of the people of Uganda in giving power to those institutions. Because all institutions of state derive power from the people.
Yes.
So if you are a DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, you are prosecuting offenders on behalf of the people of Uganda. That's why all crime is Uganda versus.
Yes.
So the DPP is an agent of the people of Uganda. So I would want, and I think the media should interrogate. You remember, this is the DPP that charged me with rape, that charged me with terrorism, that charged me, the same DPP, without the slightest iota of evidence. Now, they sanctioned a charge of terrorism. The whole purpose of that charge is because it is difficult to get bail.
Yes.
So they can, it's another form of detention without trial. You abusing the due process to detain people without trial. There was a law here which Museveni used to be very, critical of, the detention without trial law, which was in Uganda, where the Minister of Internal Affairs could simply sign a piece of paper and lock you up indefinitely. It was repealed by the NRM. Now they found that they needed it.
Wow.
So, because they are shy to introduce the Detention Without Trial Act, they are now holding people and, slapping capital offenses on them, which are not easily bailable, so that they achieve the same objective. But the person who facilitates that is the DPP. And so, Miss Abodo really stands charged. And the people of Uganda should focus on her. The abuse of office by the DPP is totally unacceptable. You know? And they should know that they will answer for these outright abuses of their offices. And so anybody in the shoes of Abodo really should take care. They are being used and they themselves will be abused.
There was also Akilewo Kivumbi from NUP who was also arrested in the same
It's not just...
There are various political prisoners as we speak.
These 35 are the tiniest bit of the criminal use of their offices that has been going on. Kitalia is now a prison for political prisoners. That's why they built Kitalia. It's a prison. There are hundreds, thousands of people there, all political prisoners, kept there by Abodo and her subordinates, you know. Yes. But all of them, the responsibility for prosecution lies in the DPP. So every focus, and she should be interrogated to account for her abuse of office. It's a total abuse of office. Just like the other fellow, Butera, who is now a judge.
Justice,
in recognition of the service to the criminal regime that is here, is now a judge. Biabakama, who was deputy DPP,
yes,
is a judge of the Court of Appeal, still abusing his office, being a judge of the Court of Appeal, at the same time a chairperson of the Electoral Commission, in contravention of the law.
I think Alfonso Winnie-Dolo was the lawyer of Mr. Museveni.
Of course, in a petition that I filed.
Yes, he was the lawyer.
Winnie-Dolo was part of the lawyers defending Museveni against my petition that he had stolen an election. So, you know, all these people must know that they are riding a leopard. They will either end up in its stomach, or the hunters who are hunting the leopard will find the leopard with them, and they won't distinguish who the leopard and who the riders are. They should know that it's a matter of time. You know, I was talking about this Lady Sally.
Geraldine
Sally.
Permanent secretary.
Yes. You know, she's a lady that had actually reasonable credentials of integrity. But once you choose, you know, like the other lady who was made the executive director of Kampala, what was her name?
Jennifer Musisi?
Musisi, Jennifer Musisi. This is the same breed, Jennifer Musisi, Geraldine Sally, and others like that, who came from fairly decent backgrounds of integrity and so on, but chose, for whatever reasons, and they are ill-advised, if you ask me, to serve a totally discredited, in fact, criminal establishment, a mafia system. You choose to go and offer service within there. Know that sooner or later you will be entrapped.
You can't change the system.
No, it will change you, or you will become indistinguishable from it anyway, and you will become a victim just like the system you are serving at the end of that day. So, our people must learn to limit their, I don't know what attracts them to work with such a system.
It's money, doctor.
Whether it's money, whether it's, some coach it as an opportunity to serve, that even if there is a bad situation, but when I'm there, I may influence some.
There are those ones who are telling us MPs to be, that they are going to change the parliament.
Yes. And maybe some believe that way. This is why I'm cautioning them that, you ride a leopard at your own risk. The end is tears. It will invariably end in tears. This is the same for the many opposition leaders who are corrupted with appointments. All these many now who are actually occupying influential positions in the junta, they were opposing the junta.
The speaker and the deputy speaker.
There are many. There are many.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to name them. There are very many. In fact, even this week, one of our leaders in Bushenyi, Odo Tayewa, he had been in parliament the other term. He declared he has now seen the light. He has joined NRM. This week, he has been appointed commissioner for trade.
Wow.
Yes. So he is now...
It's that easy.
Yes, he's now a commissioner, a senior public servant in the Ministry of Trade. And I understand now, because especially the Western Uganda, you see, Buganda is in total defiance against the junta. That worries them. Western Uganda, which people think supports Museveni, is actually bubbling with discontent. Maybe even far more than Buganda and other. Of course, the North was the first one in defiance. In fact, the North was at war.
But these days it looks like the North is okay.
It is the attempt to use patronage, because they, of course, crushed the economy of the Northern Uganda. It is the poorest. It is the Northern Uganda is only less poor than Karamoja. It is the second poorest region in the country. And so they are now trying to use the patronage to contain them. The same, what they are trying in the West now. You see, the West, which Museveni treated as his backyard, I'm telling you, is bubbling with opposition now and defiance. And that's why they are again refocusing patronage onto the Western Uganda. In fact, I have learned credibly that there is a scheme already in the government to identify jobs which are going to be dangled on many of our leaders from the West. Odo Tayewa was only part of those targets. There are more who are targeted using jobs, including using the public corporations. Public corporations using national water. There is the fellow in charge of national water who is one of the conduits of those patronage systems and other public corporations. So
that's unsustainable, really.
Yeah. So people must understand that. I was talking about the DPP. That these jobs and what they call opportunities to eat under the junta are very temporary, and those co-opted to eat with the mafia are eating poison. They will actually get into trouble even before the mafia. They will. And many have, except that, people simply don't learn, I've always talked about the hyena, which saw, a stone covered by, hot stone covered by fat, melting fat, and it grabbed it and put it in its mouth, and it was too hot. But it couldn't spit it because it would lose the fats around it, and it kept on, suffering with the heat until it died.
In Uganda, they say chinjo chanchimira.
So that is what most. Anyhow, as I have said, the 35 people will definitely come out sooner or later because there is no case against them. We are going to be challenging those cases, even that they have put on them, in all areas, including in the East African court, but also here in these courts. And they simply serve injustices. This is one thing the dictators never learn, that injustices actually are the fuel for the freedom fighters.
It looked like they were charismatic, they were resilient.
They embolden others. Injustice is the fuel for freedom fighters. Deploy more injustice, freedom fighters get more energized. And so I am already seeing that. Because as you have said, people went to protest to the Kenya High Commission. They were roughed up, arrested, and so on. But more are going to come. You wait next week, you'll see. Until the Kenyans and the Ugandan people solve this, the Kenyans must give us answers. They have an accountability to make, the Kenyan government. And so the ones who are here will not be in peace unless they give us answers. And it's going to continue. So
it looks small, but it's something that is
just the beginning.
Okay, Jenny. Thank you so much. That is retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye. Just 25 minutes past 1 p.m. We have at least half an hour to go for this show. Let's delve into the conversation of the protests, especially the protests for the young people, or led by the young people, who they call the Gen Zs in this country. They tried to make a statement on the 23rd of July. They repeated these same statements again, trying to protest what they call the corruption craze in Uganda today. Doctor, many people are belittling these protests, saying that they did not achieve anything. There were few individuals, they're young people, nothing really happened. Like a question that was sent by Nicholas Muima Hura, who said, the Gen Zs, Doctor, the Gen Zs have spoken and nothing has changed in the system. How can they make their cause heard more? Let's start with Nicholas's question.
So first of all, Edgar and all our viewers, even before we interrogate the effectiveness of what those young people did, the first question we should ask ourselves is whether there is a cause, whether there is a problem.
The whole Uganda agrees that corruption is a problem. Everybody, even the president himself.
And it's not just corruption. It's corruption is part of the bigger problem of state capture, you see, and extraction. It's because, corruption is theft, where you take what is maybe not yours. But you see, we've been talking about how the money that is taken from us legally through taxes, how it is employed. Because that's where the problem of the young people comes from. Not actually, so corruption is part and parcel of that. But to find that you know, you saw interns, people who have worked hard, very brilliant, the best brains you'll find in Uganda, studied medicine, completed 5 years, are on the verge of providing professional care to Ugandans, but you can't, you know, find 18 billion to complete their training and license them. 18 billion can't be found. And in the process, when they raise their voices, they are humiliated, they are arrested, they are tortured, you know, because you can't find 18 million. But in this budget where 18 billion could not be found, government, Museveni went back to parliament, forced parliament to reallocate 300 billion to hand over to a foreign company, Rocco. 300 billion, some of which taken from the Ministry of Health to give to a foreign company, 300 billion. They gave 500, and I think it was 67 billion. 567, I think, billion, more than 500 billion, which was given to a fake company that it's going to produce pharmaceuticals. The company led by the fellow who was ceremoniously introduced to Uganda as having found a vaccine for COVID. You can imagine somebody to lie to the president and cause the president to lie to the country, to lie to the world that he has. And there was a ceremony by that Magola, you know, that he is a Ugandan who has discovered. So that Magola has a fake company called Day something. It has been given more than 500 billion, a private thing. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but it's likely that those kinds of, all these kinds of things have relatives of the mafia as part of them. So 500 billion cashed out. The other, I don't know how many billions again were given to the Atiak.
There's also Lubowa too.
Atiak Sugar
Company. Yeah.
You know, the Lubowa, that was 1.2 trillion.
No establishment, nothing is there
you know.
yet.
So that you can't, of course it is part of the corruption, but formally,
It's formal corruption.
yes,
Stealing in a formal manner.
it is approved by parliament,
Yes.
you know, and it is given away against Ugandans. So you see, parliament is now an institution, not of Ugandans, but of the mafia. So they have created a facade that they are government institutions. They are not government institutions. Government institutions would be institutions of the people. They are no institutions of the people. They are institutions of the mafia who control Uganda.
Yes.
And who create a facade that these are formal, legal, legitimate undertakings. So the young people who have no jobs, who have no hope, who have no health care, whose education is shambolic, completely shambolic, the collapsed infrastructure in the country and so on and so forth, is all because the whole economy is captured by the family of Mr. Museveni. And his extraction is an extraction from everybody to the controlling family and its the cabal that controls the country, the cronies and so on. So, you know, that is the cause. So, whether there is a demonstration or not, the cause to change this definitely exists. The country is working against its people. Those who control the country are using the country against its people. You see, imposing taxes that they cannot benefit from. And so, the only problem, as I see it, is not that there is no cause to fight for change. The problem is that we haven't yet come to terms with how that is managed. So you have traders, business community, which is part of the areas being extracted from, because all these taxes eventually pass through these businesses. They take their money. Their allies are not the Ugandan businesses. They are the Rocos. They are the Turks. They are the Chinese. Because the foreigners have no political interest. They won't threaten Museveni to take over his power. So he disempowers Ugandans and empowers foreigners.
The Pinetis of this world.
Yes. Pinetis are actually, yeah, of course, they are part of the, but what the business people are, for example, crying from is that Chinese, whom they have given a free hand to import things here without taxes, claiming that they are manufacturers. So they bring, you know, they bring the bottle as raw material, the plastic bottle, bring a cup as raw material.
Literally everything.
Then they put in the water and close it, and they are now a manufacturer. So this is this was tax free because they are importing raw materials to you know. So now, having produced this with all those benefits, then they become the distributors of this up to the retailer. So they are the wholesaler, the Chinese, they are the retailer, they are in the supermarket, they are in Kikuwo, competing with any Ugandan who is also trying to retail the same thing. And if you are getting that thing without the benefits they have, they will outcompete you and squeeze you out of business. So those are the business people are dying out. You were talking about teachers abandoning the teaching profession. It's everybody. Business, you can't imagine the number of businesses that are closing every day around the country. Huge. You know, those who are in Kampala first can no longer pay rent in Kampala, so they close Kampala and shift to Gayaza. Gayaza becomes too hot, they close Gayaza and they shift to Ruwero until they go back to their village. So the cause is there. The cause affects all. It affects the young people who are coming out of school, the doctors, the teachers, all young and aspiring professionals and the would-be workforce of Uganda. The only place they will work is as slaves of the foreign enterprises that have been put here, who pay slave salaries because there is no protection for the Ugandans there is no minimum wage. So, and because there are so many who have nothing to do, they will accept anything. So somebody works for 30 days, working 12 hours a day, they are given 100,000 shillings. Whether they leave or don't leave, it's up to you. And so on and so forth. So, my sense is, yes, the young people have woken up. And anybody who trivializes what they did is putting their head just in the sand. Because don't forget, Mr. Museveni, how fearful he was. Just before the date they had said they are going to show their dissatisfaction.
Yes.
You are playing with the fire. You try. You know. And they tried. And they came and said, okay, let's see if we are playing. They came. That is, so people are overcoming the fear. They are rubbishing the threats. And that's all that it takes, you know. Don't think Ugandan community is not any different from others. It's just a matter of time. You saw Bangladeshis.
Yes, they already
you know, the people of Bangladesh. Don't think the regime in Bangladesh of Sheikh was any less aggressive, and they killed over 300.
They mattered a lot.
But they kept on moving.
Yes.
So.
And their cause, they have achieved it now.
Yes.
As we
So. If the junta here, of course they no longer here. They lost their ears a long time ago. So I can't even ask them to listen because they can't listen. They have no capacity to listen anymore. They are completely consumed by decadence. But, you know, the people, you know, who help them, they are influencers, the RDCs, the people, the hangers on, people who are hanging on looking for something to eat. You know, those should know, and who do their bidding in the media. You know, I see them, you know, they are media people. They must know, because those can still hear. They are still even hungry. You know, they must know that time is really up.
Mr. Museveni says that these protests are being funded by foreign agents.
That's absolute nonsense, of course. And it's not only him who says so. All similar dictators will always try to create the impression the problem is from elsewhere. It is not here. It's standard. It's standard. Have you forgotten, you know, whether it was Amin, he always thought that the problem was from Tanzania and from, you know, imperialists. Whoever it is.
No, he says this is a good cause, but it is being taken on by some people with some interests, hidden agendas.
Yes, so the cause, I have told you what the cause is. And the cause will drive itself. Of course, other people, for different reasons, who are aggrieved with the junta, will also have a legitimate cause to support its end. So I can't discount that. But the contradiction, if there was nothing to support, they would not be, they would not, whether they intend to, they are opposed, there would be nothing. There would be
so there is a basis, really.
The starting point is the grievance which is there. And you know, when I hear some people say, but now Museveni has woken up to fight corruption, that is the most ridiculous assertion that anyone can make. Because, I mean, if they asked you to describe what a corrupt leader is, if you describe Museveni, you get 100%.
He says he's not corrupt. He has mentioned that he's not corrupt, really.
So he is not just corrupt, he is the source of all the corruption. He is the fertilizer, he's the soil on which it grows. So for anybody, after 40 years, don't forget the 10-point program. The reason we were fighting in the bush was to end corruption.
Number 7, end corruption.
So after 40 years, it will be, a joke for you to say you have been here doing something about corruption. And it's a joke.
No, he didn't know the magnitude
Because
of the problem.
I don't think in the entire 62 years of Uganda's independence,
yes, sir,
there certainly has never been as entrenched, as widespread, as mega in terms of the magnitude of corruption as there has been under the Museveni junta. It has never been there. So it will not be ended by the causers.
Yes, sir.
It must be the people of Uganda to rise up and say enough is enough. And I am telling you, people have, I get a sense. I have never had doubt that it would happen. Even now, those who are saying, yeah, it can't happen, let them wait. It's just a matter of time. The storm is gathering. When I talked about, the tsunami, people have been taunting me, where is the tsunami? Where? They don't know that tsunami, it's a whirlwind. It keeps on.
And these days it's even national in nature.
It gathers.
Everybody is protesting.
It gathers momentum. And if anybody is oblivious to that, if people cannot see the gathering storm, then they will be obviously shocked
Where should
when it eventually, the eye of the storm lands.
Where should these young people improve? For a person who has been in such situations, where do you think they should galvanize more or put more emphasis? They've made the statement, so what next?
Well, so you see, first, there is, I think, importance of widening understanding of the issues. You see, for example, the articulation of the issues by the Gen Zs of Kenya is far more impressive than you see how our people articulate issues. So there is still a gap in understanding the dynamics that we face.
Yes.
A lot of effort still needs to be done. And this is partly what we do even in these programs, so that people understand the problem. What is this problem? How is it likely to go away? Because there are still many, many confusing voices sponsored by the regime. For example, people who keep on saying, no, if you are dissatisfied, wait for the next election. Can you have an election organized by the mafia that will remove the mafia? So people must have deeper understanding of the problem, and that is through sharing information, holding study groups, meetings, and especially, our students. The universities should be areas, because these are areas where young people meet, work together every day. The universities have been killed by, many schemes. So the young people, whether at the university, have study groups to understand the problem a little better and use these study groups to network, create connections, networking and organizational skills. Because at some stage, if we are talking about communicating through the social media will be shut down. That's what all of them do, you know? So you must have networks to communicate beyond all this. And, you know, at the end of the day, leadership is critical in every struggle. So we must sharpen the abilities, the leadership abilities of our young people to lead situations like this. And you know, this week I had an interaction with some people who gave me an interesting idea that young people in those kinds of groups should start doing research about the things that they want to see happen when this collapses.
What next? The alternatives?
Yes,
the
yes.
solutions.
So apart from understanding how we came where we are, understanding where we are, but also invest in understanding what you want to see, how you will see it, but what is it you want to see. So that, because this sooner or later will collapse, there is absolutely no doubt. There is no extractive group that survives for much longer than they have, with the level of extraction that they have done. It's not possible to survive much longer. So the question is, how do we rebuild? Where do we start? What is the plan? All that needs to start being invested in now. Okay. And as I have said, some of us who have invested our entire adult life in trying to work for a better Uganda, we are still here. We shall continue sharing whatever experiences we have.
Okay.
So feel free to interact with all of us in achieving a better Uganda.
You've answered Kemitoma's first question, but the second question is, you've hinted on it, but please clarify. Do we hope to see him soon in his hoodie marching to occupy Parliament with us?
Yeah, so part of the problem has been for people to rely on individuals, you know, waiting for Besigye to come, and then you sit on the TV and say, how did he do today?
Yes.
You know, and you know, waiting for known leaders.
Yes.
That may help, but our experience has also shown that it can be used, especially by those who are creating problems, to factionalize those who are discontented. Because the attempt, I have always said that the strategy for those who captured power to remain with it is hinged in 4 things. One is in building fear in people's minds, paralyzing people with fear. So we must overcome fear. 2, it is in corrupting people with their stolen wealth, giving favors, patronage, jobs, money, you know, and causing people to abandon the struggle.
Yes, sir.
3, it is in propaganda, trying to deceive that they are what they are not, that things will change, things will improve. You know, you find people drumming up PD, what do you call it?
PDM.
PDM. We are giving you money, you will. But where did this money come from? In the first place, it came from me. So how can you now bring me money and that you think my money and you think it's, you know, so propaganda, which propaganda also targets us, you know, to smear those who are leading struggles. But for divide and rule, to divide the discontented population. And because we have previously been leading in partisan formations, so if I come, I am maybe seen in the light of FDC.
Yeah.
If Chagulanyi comes, maybe he's seen in the light of red NUP. If somebody comes from DP, maybe he's seen in the light. And then the junta will start trying to create rivalry amongst all these discontented people. This is something we have to very creatively overcome. And part of overcoming it, I think, is to allow the young people. We can be available and provide you with everything that you need to achieve what needs to be achieved. I mean, in Kenya, you didn't see any prominent leader.
Yes, we did.
Leading the struggle. They are there, they are supportive, they are doing whatever, but denying the junta the possibility of using the known leaders to divide the young people who are struggling for their common future. So I am available. I have never, and I will never retreat from the struggle. I am available. My hood is available. But let's, first of all, understand what needs to be done. Let's increase the determination to do it. Let's be ready to do it whether there is a leader or not, because leaders are mortal. I may be there today, tomorrow I may be dead.
Yeah.
The struggle should not die because a leader has died. And you've seen it. You know, leaders are targeted everywhere, being hit whether in the country or abroad, but the struggles continue. So prepare yourselves. We support a struggle to free our country. I will be there in any form or manner in such a struggle until it happens.
Okay.
And so make no mistake, I am available.
Okay. We've come to the end of this discussion. There are some messages here. One is asking, tell Doctor to comment about regional parliament seatings. Then Owino Dennis Joshua, I'm kindly requesting for your mentorship in politics. Doctor, I don't know, Doctor, if you can just respond to that, or you have some of the messages that you noted down there that you'd like to react to in these 3 to 4 minutes that you can end this discussion.
Yeah, first of all, to put to bed the protest area, it's really critical that all the people protesting injustice understand that there is a common thread creating that injustice. It's so there must linkages must be made between business, teachers, doctors, border cyclists, and we must all know that the source of injustice is the same.
Yes, sir.
And coordinate to have a concerted action. And if we do, it won't take even a week to have a new situation here.
Okay.
Now, having said that, the regional, somebody raised the question of the regional parliaments. You see, again, first of all, I have told you unequivocally that our parliament is not your parliament. It's not a parliament. This is a Museveni parliament. It's not whether it is seated in Kampala, whether it is in Gulu, wherever it goes, it's not going to serve you. It is going to serve its owner. And so don't be excited about I have a bit of sympathy of the parliament rotating, because part of the money they steal and waste, maybe they will waste it, or maybe people will pick some. But don't expect that it will change anything. Maybe it may also give us an opportunity for demonstrations to happen in Gulu against it. For demonstrations, if they go to Mbarara, we organize, because the Mbarara people, I'm sure, have a lot of grievances against their corruption, but they have no transport to come. So maybe if they move around, we will have an easier way of protesting against them all around.
Yes,
what was the other issue?
One wanted you to mentor them in terms of politics. The one Owino Dennis Joshua.
Well, that's an ongoing matter, and this is precisely why this program is on.
Yeah.
The idea here is that really, unfortunately, many of our people don't connect the public good with their individual survival. Okay. People look at themselves first. You know, what do I eat today? How do I send my own child to school? Without knowing that really without the common good,
yes, Doctor,
sooner or later we are all doomed.
As you conclude.
And so that is, I think, the most critical message that our country needs, to focus on the common good, so that together we are better.
Okay,
thank you very much.
All right.
Now, as I've said, I'm extremely grateful for the time and you know, the data that you use to follow these programs. Thank you very much. I forgot to thank at the beginning of the program many people who sympathized with me and our family when we lost one of our moms. And, you know, we are extremely grateful for the many messages that were sent and for the support that we received. Until next week, unfortunately, time is not on our side. May the good Lord bless all of you abundantly.
Bless you too, Doctor. It's exactly 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching us from the time we started at 12 midday up to now. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. This conversation continues on our social media platforms at Digitalk TV, at The Alternative Uganda. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook, but we're also on YouTube. So you can go and watch those videos on either side of the social media platform. So from the entire team, we have these conversations not to just ridicule or scorn at people, government, or individuals. No, we have this conversation to create a better Uganda, to mold a future that is going to be better for us, but also for our children and the generations that are yet to come. This is Digitalk TV. Until next time on Friday, we'll meet again. My name is Edgar. Good afternoon, and God bless Uganda.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.